Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Late for the Party on YouTube. I am your host, Harry Labrea, aka Cubba Boy, the Modern Marvel. We're going to get into an All Points Acquired. There's a lot of stuff on All Points Acquired. This segment's going to be lit, you guys. We talk about wrestling, we talk about gaming, we talk about anime, and there's a lot of heaters coming up. So before I get into the surprise thoughts, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the podcast. Check me out on all forms of social media: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Well, I'm on YouTube already. So, I mean, hit those likes, comments, and share. Share the support. Also, let's hit those likes, love you guys, pretty much. Also, Teespring. Check out all the cool Late for the Party merch and some upcoming t shirts as well. We are getting ready to come up with some fire. So be ready and get ready because it's going to be a barn burner, ladies and gents. So tell a friend, tell a foe, let everybody know that this is Late for the Party and this is how we go. So let's get into it. So, pretty much, we're going to talk about absolute Ricky Stark showing up on NXT. Showed up on Tuesday. Turns out that his release from AEW on Monday and was already out there on NXT on Tuesday. Now, he's obviously with the biggest, I mean, now with everything going on in WWE right now, it is going to be lit as all outdoors with Ricky Stark. We obviously know about the releases that Malachi Black, Ricky Starks, and Miro, aka Rusev Day, was released from AEW. Their contracts were finally up. They're now out of being held hostage by Tony Khan. So what happens next? We already see that Ricky Starks has obviously popped up on the grid over at NXT. And now, what is going to be what is the future for the absolute one, Ricky Starks? I'm excited. I'm actually happy to see him being in NXT because like he probably won't be there too long, but I think he can get some traction. If he could get some traction in NXT to where it boosts up NXT as well, and for him to be on the playing field, like it won't be very long for him to get to the main roster. Let's just say it like that. I mean, I could already see him linking up with Cody and maybe being a rival to Cody and whatnot, being the closest things to like an MJF or MJF mentality, but just with a little bit of seasoning and with him being in the WWE atmosphere, I could see him going pretty far. And then also hearing the big the phenom himself, Undertaker, talk about that with Bubba Ray on Busted Open, man, it like, and he's giving him great worthy of praise. And coming from the dead man himself, that's saying a lot right there. So I'm actually all for it. Let's see what happens in the upcoming future. I could see Tony Stark. I could see Ricky Starks being NXT champion, definitely. Now, the thing is, do you make him a face or do you make him a heel? Right now, with the whole thing going on with Trick Williams, Obafemi, let him get a couple of wins on his belt, maybe a rivalry here and there, maybe a good. I could see a definite good rivalry with Spears, also with all ego there. Shit, his name escaped me. Ethan Page. Definitely, I could see a rivalry considering the fact that they all came from the other side of the fence, and maybe even Lexus King pop up as well. So I mean, seeing a former NXT, seeing former AEW brethren in NXT should definitely be kind of interesting. Then also, there's a lot to it to where like I don't think Ricky Starks should have too much of a problem. But now it's just to see if he has drawing power, and just with how he's been pushing himself to the extreme limit to where he really wanted to be back out there. Now he's in the forefront. He looks good and he looks pretty good in pretty good shape. So I'm excited. I want to see where this goes with Ricky Starks being in NXT. And keep in mind, I started watching NXT more with Shawn Michaels being more, being involved in Booker T and whatnot. I mean, I could definitely see some promise coming from. I could see some promise basically coming from Ricky Starks because don't get me wrong, in everything in NXT so far, it's always been certain. Nothing's wrong with this. I keep this in mind. Nothing's wrong with this. But every time I think about most of the NXT stuff, if it's not involving like Trick Williams or Obafemi, it's always been the women. It's always been the women. And with Stephanie Valkyr and Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade and a lot of other girls on there, Jada Parker, Lola Vice. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, the girls have really been kicking it up in the high gear. I mean, hell, the girls have been literally putting the. I say the girls on NXT has been putting in more work into being in the spotlight more so than the main roster girls in some cases. So hey, like even with like Kaylani Jordan and this rivalry going on with Jada Parker, that's pretty good. Stephanie Valkyr going after Fallon Henley, and that's getting pretty good. Now Julia, I don't know. Her being NXT, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if anybody who should have had the belt, I mean, I get it. I get the fact that Julia was there and she got the belt and she got there before Stephanie did. But even then, I feel like her her run. I wouldn't say she's mid, but I think I'm getting more of a push out of. I'm getting more out of Stephanie being champion than I say Julia being champion, if that makes sense. And I'm not knocking Julia. I just need to see more out of her, especially for her being the champion. You know what I'm saying? Because if anything, I would have rather put Stephanie as the NXT champion and then give let Julia run for the other belt that Stephanie's going for. I would have swapped between the two. Would have made more sense to me. But I think there's method to the madness, and I'm trusting the fact that NXT is really doing its thing right now. So, and with Ricky Starks falling in place, who knows what's going to go down? There's been a lot of uh a lot of folks getting released in NXT. I mean, a lot of not in NXT, but a lot of people getting released from Raw and SmackDown, and it's a pretty lump sum release, but I mean, with everything that they're doing right now and the stuff that they're getting ready to add on, it kind of makes sense. Right now we don't know what's going to happen with if Malachi Black even comes back. Miro, aka Rusev, he could probably make his return back. So who knows? There was a lot of people who were released so far in WWE. It was a nice lengthy list, but we'll see. I mean, so far the people who recently got released so far. Let's see. Most of the people who were released right now: Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, Giovanni Vinci, Giovanni, he got released. Sonya Deville, well, even she didn't really got released. She just pretty much didn't renew any. There was no renewed contracts for her. Blair Davenport, AOP, Paul Ellerick, Cedric Alexander. Well, shit. If anything, if anywhere, he goes to. I believe if he goes, I mean, the Hurt Syndicate is already a thing, and if they really want to really go there, and if Cedric Alexander gets picked up with AEW, I know exactly where he's going. He's going right to the Herd Syndicate, and I'm still baffled that there was nothing like as dope as the Hurt business was in WWE, which is crazy to me because as dope as they should have had just as equally as a push as the Bloodline. And I think that would have been a very, very dope rivalry just with the Hurt Business going up against the Bloodline, even though ultimately the Bloodline would have won, but I would have still loved to see that feud go on up in WWE. But like so, we're not gonna get that. Now they're with her business is now the Hurt Syndicate and AEW. And right now, both Bobby and Shelton Benjamin, or Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, are now the AEW tag champions, and rightfully so. But even though, honestly, for them to both be tag champions, I honestly feel that Shelton should definitely deserve a solo belt. I believe that. He definitely got the chops for it. And Bobby should damn near be going for the AEW title and holding it for a lengthy period of time. But however the story is being written over there, I digress from my point. I just don't want the Hurt Syndicate being thrown to the wayside, just like most of the folks on AEW has, been pushed all the way to the wayside. Like, where's FTR? I haven't heard from him in quite a while. But I mean, the releases so far in WWE. I mean, for some of those guys that they dropped, okay, you're getting Ricky Starks. You're getting possibly a couple of more people in the process. Maybe Malachi Black returning. Maybe uh Rusev. I mean, you dropped quite a few people just to get some of the folks you got even now. So it's like almost like a trade off and just seeing where the payoff comes from that set trade. So, and then what the releases have happened last year. Let's see: Nunzio, Baron Corbin, Tegan Knox, Indy Hartwell, Zachary Wentz, Trey Miguel, Rosemary Hammerstone. What the hell? Odyssey Jones, uh, MVP. Well, of course, MVP. Tamina, Bobby Lashley, contract expired. Damon Kemp, Ricochet, Dominic, Dominic, Dijak. I forgot his name, and Becky Lynch's contract expired. But any expired contracts, honestly, if they come back, especially for Becky, I mean, she just probably just took some time off so she could do some, watching her kid, watching the kid, her child, and also, she's going to be in the new Star Trek series. So hey, she's obviously going to make some kind of money. So, but I mean, I could probably possibly see a return for her. I mean, right now, I'd rather see her come back and do something more than I would see Charlotte. I mean, the moment she comes back, we expect her to win, but then all of us, I mean, it was expected that she was going to win, but you know, like I'm at that point, like who really cares? And then it's just they just made her like really unlikable. And at this point, do you really want Charlotte to beat any of the girls? Do you really want Charlotte to beat Tiffany Stratton? I really don't. Like honestly, like for her to sit there holding the belt, the holding the for Tiffany Stratton to hold the Money in the Bank briefcase that freaking long just to finally cash it in, just for her to lose the belt to Charlotte. And honestly, I can't see anybody else other than, I mean, Charlotte going after Rhea. Okay, I mean, Charlotte going after Rhea. I mean, I could see her trying to get her get back on that. But honestly, I feel like it would be a lot better for her to go after that than Liv. I mean, well, I think the whole Liv Rhea thing has finally ran its course. But what do you do at this point? I mean, right now, you got Nia Jax bouncing between Raw and SmackDown. This heifer just has been everywhere, and she has like no filter on like, okay, I'm gonna go to SmackDown, I'm gonna go to Raw, whoop Bailey's ass. Then I'll go to SmackDown. I mean, hell, and then she's wrestling Tiffany Stratton tonight, which I'm pretty sure Tiffany's not losing that belt. Unless, and there's some interesting things that's about to go down at WrestleMania because there's a lot of unknown factors that's going to happen till April. We don't know how all this is going to turn out. They're definitely not taking the belt off of Tiffany Stratton, but they got to make it more something. They got to make it a wild type of situation. Like it might be a big thing for Tiffany to go up against Charlotte, but is it gonna be one of those matches that is gonna be worth the match? And hold on for 1 second. So so like who knows? But either way, I'm all for it. I'm all for it regardless, because I'm physically going to be there at WrestleMania on April 19th and April 20th, basking in the glow of the WrestleMania lights and show. And I am all for it. I am going to be out there doing my thing for real, for real. So I am looking forward to it. But right now, we just don't know what is going to happen. And then, I mean, from how everything's going to build up till now, everything from Elimination Chamber, all of that is going to have to play build up. All of that right now. And however it ends, how all the lead up, who's going to face who. We already know that Jay is going after Gunther. Now, do they pull the trigger on Gunther losing to Jay? I mean, honestly, if I'm to be a betting man, I would say there is a 90 to 80% chance that Jay is going to win WrestleMania. He's going to win. They're going to put the belt on him at WrestleMania. And the only reason why I say that is because it would make more sense fan base wise. Also, the fact that you got your champion, you got dual baby faces on Raw and SmackDown would make sense. I mean, I definitely know Cody is not losing the belt to whoever he wrestles that night. So whoever he's going to wrestle, and that's a up in the air type scenario too, because we're all thinking it's going to be like we want Cody to go up against. I mean, I was hoping that Cody would go up against Randy Orton, but I don't think that's going to happen. Not at this rate. Not at this rate. I mean, right now, with any matches that's going to happen on WrestleMania, the one that's mainly etched in stone right now is Gunther and Jay. Now, depending on how the Elimination Chamber goes, who's going to be the final guy, obviously it's going to be either for all the people who's going to be in Elimination Chamber so far. Okay, you got John Cena, you got CM Punk, you got Drew McIntyre, you got Jake Paul. I mean, you got Logan Paul. You got uh, who else? And then you got Damian Priest versus Braun Strowman and frickin' the Samoa Werewolf Jacob Fatu, which honestly I feel like between I feel like Damian might win that match because of just the fight between. I don't think Jacob's going to Elimination Chamber. I don't think he's going to Elimination Chamber. No way. Like between the fight between both of those two, it ain't gonna happen that way. It's not gonna fly. But then Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, of course, Seth Rollins. So it's gonna be most of those guys in whatchamacallit. It'd be interesting seeing Jacob, but I don't think Jacob's getting any Jacob's not getting pinned anytime soon. And for anybody who would win the Elimination Chamber to go up against Cody at WrestleMania, and there's no sign of Randy Orton in sight at all. And right now, Kevin Owens is definitely nowhere near wrestling anything involving like CM Punk. He's definitely not winning. But do you make John Cena? Do you go the route of John Cena versus Cody Rhodes? would Cody Rhodes drop the belt to John Cena just for him to drop it for a day and then he'd retire? He's not wrestling anything beyond after WrestleMania. That's it. No more John Cena at this point. So even if he does win, he relinquished the belt and retire. So what happens? What happens next after that? I think what really might go down with that, it would have to be John Cena either winning and him losing. That's how we keep Cody to retain the belt. I mean, John ain't gonna get no kind of wins anytime soon. But then all this big talk that he's been doing, all the big talk that he's been basically doing right now is like, well, I mean, this is going to be the only match that he went. Like, if anything, this has got to be the match that he wins before he retires. I know they're not going to put CM Punk on. I mean, they're not going to have CM Punk win the Elimination Chamber. Somewhere along the lines, I mean, Seth and CM Punk is definitely going to have to get a run it back situation. And their final match is going to be at WrestleMania. I could bet your bottom dollar that Seth Rollins will beat CM Punk at WrestleMania. I bet money. There's going to be a stipulation on the line for that too. Because somewhere along the lines, they're going to split those two up. I believe that either Seth will go to SmackDown, and he's going to restart his feud with Roman. Because I see somewhere along the lines that Roman, I don't know if they're going to make another faction with everybody hating on Cody and Roman because of their kinship to each other, and all this shit stemmed from Roman. No, I don't think Drew, Kevin, and Seth gonna form a team, but if they did, I mean, this is just off of pure speculation. But if there's any way that would happen, this might be a wrap for like Roman and his whole redemption story, because this is where the thing that has not happened. Like, Roman has not had any redeemable qualities about who he is and how he's acting. He's still the same asshole he was before he lost the belt. He's still the same dude. He's just now likable. He's just that likable asshole. like, oh my God. Like, you would think like everybody's on that vibe of CM Punk being an asshole, but I mean, even Roman was like, "Look, I don't even have beef with I don't even have beef with him. Everybody got beef with me." And everybody's like, "I'm worse than Roman? Come on now. I'd put everybody under to like put you on blast like that. I was just trying to get the company back in order." So, I don't know. This is going to be a barn burner. That's for real. Woo, boy. But it is a fun time to be a wrestling fan. But either way, I'm going to get off the hook on that. I'll get into another segment with All Points Acquired. But this is Late for the Party on YouTube. Like always, y'all, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the podcast. Hit those notification bells. And let everybody know that this is Late for the Party and this is how we go. So as always, you're always on time when you're late for the party.